Hi, thanks for tuning in to Turn to the Stars. My name is Andrea Klim, and I am an astrological counselor and a shamanic practitioner from the local Manchester area. And I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in today. We have a really great show planned, and it's called The Growth of Truth, and it's because of my guest Debbie Pinet, who is here, Debbie Raymond Pinet, who is a psychic and a medium. And so we're going to be talking with her today about her book, The Growth of Truth. So it's a really interesting show. But before we begin, I do want to just say thank you to all of our supporters of Turn to the Stars. We had a psychic holistic fair at the Yard this past Saturday on March 9th, and it was phenomenal. It was called An Investigation into Your Consciousness. And during this month of March, while we're in this energy of Pisces, which is 5 planets all clustered together in the sign of Pisces, so it's about the mystical. It's about the investigation into our consciousness. And so that's why I'm so happy to have Debbie here today to share her lifelong journey of her investigation of the truth and into her consciousness. So, but before we get there, I just really want to thank you all for coming out and coming to join us. It was a phenomenal event. The lecturers and all the readers, all the participants, and everybody who came. It was just a really great day. So thanks again, and we'll look forward to seeing you at our next one on May 4th at the Yard. So, and there's one other thing I want to tell you about, which has to do with investigation into your consciousness, which is on March 23rd, and it is a ESP psychic development course that is at the Yard, taught by Ramona Garcia, Marlene Mercedes, and facilitated by me. And so I will be there with them, but this is a great class for the beginner or the intermediate into developing your psychic senses, and it is a very structured class. And so anybody who is interested in that piece of developing your psychic abilities, please check us out on Turn to the Stars and see if that makes any sense to you. So anyway, thanks for every support and all of you out there. And so now we're going to come right back here, pull the show into our guest, Debbie, and just a great big welcome.
Oh, thank you so much. And like I said, what a journey it took us to get here today.
Yes.
I know, and we've known each other for so long, and we're finally sitting down and working on this together, so I appreciate you having me too. I know how busy you are.
Yeah,
so,
and like Debbie said, we've known each other for a long time.
Yeah.
From, years of doing this work.
Yes. One thing I just want to say thank you to you, because I don't know if you remember that you helped me with something. When we first began working together a few years ago, and I was having a difficult time coming to grips with what was going on with me, because I was very crowded with spirit and very crowded with the public, and I didn't know how to manage it, I emailed you, and I said, this is what I'm going through. I was very sick. I was, going through some emotional difficulties and spiritual difficulties, and I said, what do I do? And you nailed it, and you said, this is exactly what's going on with you, and you just explained to me what it is I needed to ask for and to meditate for, and that's what I've been doing every single day. So that really helped me through, but Spirit led me to you to ask you that question, because I was truly alone when I was going through that process, so thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, I thought of it today.
I'm so glad that I was able to do that.
Yes, yes.
And, I asked Debbie to be a guest because she has this incredible book. It's called The Growth of Truth, and I did read it. And it is a story, a true story, as she writes on the front page, of the heaven and hell of a psychic medium.
Yes.
And there's this incredible picture here on the front, which we're going to talk about too. And so this is really a true story, right?
Yes, it is.
A true story about your life.
It is.
And it is written by yourself along with literary agent Bonnie Meroth.
Meroth.
Yes,
okay. Yeah. And again, someone who fell into my lap. Just a few years ago, she had contacted me to set up an appointment for a reading. And just like any other client, took the information over the phone, booked her. gave her a reading, and as we left, I felt that there was something there. There was a connection between her and I. And she had left me a business card, and all it said was her plain name on it. Nothing about what she did for her job, just her plain name and an email address. And I always thank my clients for coming to see me. If you have any questions, please let me know. And during that email, I stopped for a second. I said, you need to ask her what she does for a living or what she does for work.
Yeah.
And it took a few days to get a response back, which was okay. When I got the response back, she had said, I'm a literary agent besides many other things that I do.
Yeah.
And this bell went ding, 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 because here I was, I already had a couple of books under my belt, and I'm always a writer. A writer's always a writer. And I was like, you've got to be kidding. So again, something fell into my lap, and I said, would you be interested in working with me? And after an initial meeting, and she had read my other 3 books, she had told me, I love the books, they were great, but they're not marketable. Why don't you ever talk about being a medium? And I just broke down, because it was something that I didn't come out and yell off the rooftops of what I did.
Yeah.
So after the initial shock of someone saying, this is what you need to do, many tears were shed, and my confusion was finally let go, and then we wrote the book.
Yeah.
So it happened just as quick, just like that. So it was one of those things that I realized Spirit was telling me I had to do it, but to have someone physical actually tell me this is what you need to do.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. And that's why I was like so full of emotion, because I was being told I needed to do this for years, and I never did until I met someone.
It takes a lot of courage.
Yes.
It takes a lot of courage to tell your life story.
Yes.
I don't know if I have that much courage.
Yeah, it is, because it's not an everyday thing. It's not a 9 to 5 job. It's something that's totally different. And I guess it was for me to have to come full circle in what it is that I did as well. And when I said to shout out from the rooftops, I enjoy my private time sometime. I enjoy just having the clients that I had. And when I knew that this would come out the way that it did, I was really worried on how it was going to reflect on me. And then when I wrote the book and saw and went through transformation, I realized that this is what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
And I was supposed to face my fears, and I was supposed to conquer them, which I did. And thankful that I went through the process and had a wonderful person that worked with me on that process, who said, you can do this. And that was really great, because I didn't have a lot of support on what I can do. And to have that support from someone who I looked up highly to was great.
Yeah, well, that makes a big difference to have support in anything that you're doing, that especially if it's beyond your comfort zone.
Yes.
And so I have a lot of respect for you, and I say thank you, because I enjoyed reading the book.
Thank you.
And I also know that when you're talking about really personal, private things of your life, but they do make a difference. As I read, there was parts where I cried with you. There was parts where I said, she's so brave to be able to tell the story, and it has, I'm sure, made a difference to many people who walk this path as you have.
Right.
And so where can people get this book?
The book is available online, and we do, when I mean online, I mean Amazon.com. You can also go to the publisher, which is xlibris.com. BarnesandNobles.com also has it. We do have a bookstore holding it in Exeter. The Water Street Bookstore in Exeter, New Hampshire does carry our books, and they're doing very well there. It's a great little quaint shop if you ever just want to sit down and have a cup of coffee with your book. It's fantastic. Yeah. And they do support the spiritual, which is great. And, a lot of people, we have Kindles now and iPads, where people are getting it on their Kindles and iPads, and it's just very easy to get to. It's not a difficult book to find.
Yeah, well, that's great, and it's nice to know where, to find it.
Thank you.
And, Debbie, for our audience, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who, I know everybody has psychic ability.
Yes.
Everybody has it. It just comes in different ways.
Right.
And, what do you recommend to people who are born with this sixth sense wide open? Because not everybody's born with it wide open.
Right. I will tell you, I looked over our notes this morning and really reflected on the answer to that question.
Yeah.
And on my way here, I was also doing reflection and meditation to see how I should respond to that answer.
Okay.
It's not easy being wide open, and it's something that needs to be maintained, and it's something where you look for confidants and people that you can trust who understand you and who can look at it and say, I'm going through the same thing. So it does take a lot of sorting through, and it takes a lot of even some kind of research if it's reading books or looking online. But like we said, be careful about the information that you do get, and use your intuition to see what is the best thing for you to do or go with. There are classes everywhere. Just make sure the class is for you and that you trust the person who is teaching the class.
Right.
And it's basically listening to your gut and to your intuition on what you feel is the right thing for you to do. But it is something we need to maintain. And it's something that needs to be maintained on a daily basis. It's not just whenever you feel like maintaining it.
Right.
And so, so it really isn't easy. But, some of us are born with it. Some of us wake up one day and we have it. And it's just something that when you accept it, then you need to find ways to maintain it in a positive manner. Everyone is different, and everyone should be exposing it differently because it's not the same with everyone. And they need to find what works for them. And that's, the best thing that came to me intuitively today to answer that question.
So it's basically about managing it on a day-to-day basis. Once you've really tapped into it, or once it's shown itself to you.
Right, correct. And respect really matters, respecting it really matters because we all walk a fine line of living physically and spiritually. And I'm not perfect. I make decisions, and I live with those decisions, and those decisions don't come easily, and spiritually I still have to live with them. And that's called maintaining what you have for your gift, so
I know, because being human, we're all subject to have failings.
Correct.
And, I was, there's an interesting thing that I had happen at the end of January. I was supposed to have Debbie on the show. I haven't talked about this on the show, but Debbie was planned to be on the show on January 29th, and the night before I fell on ice and broke my ankle. And so my whole forward schedule got changed just like that.
Just like that.
And so you say, and I had these feelings, when you develop your psychic abilities, you often have words going through your head and pictures in front of your eyes.
Right.
So, obviously I needed to stop and manage some of things in my life.
Correct.
So, and
we call it the rug being pulled out from under your feet.
Or, right, that one, and but for me it was other things as well. So, would you agree, though, that people should be careful when they're searching for a community?
Absolutely.
To align with learning this?
Absolutely. And the reason being, that's when I said you need to trust yourself and trust the information that you're getting, works for you, or that you are getting a sense of development with who you are with and who you choose to work with and things like that. It is something that should be manageable, and it should be manageable positively and spiritually as well. And don't be so hard on yourself. If you do make some wrong decisions, it's okay. But you have to look within yourself to make those correct decisions. It is about managing and teaching and learning. It really is. It just doesn't come to you. The gift comes to you. But when you have to still educate yourself and learn about it and go through different communities in order to do that, you have to do it and trust the people who are being put in front of you are for a reason and why this person was brought to you. And it really does get you to tap into your intuition to figure out if someone works for you or they don't work for you positively. And that's up to us to weed it out.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, it's true. And because there, with everything, just like in spiritual and with physical, there is negative and positive.
Yeah.
And that's, you have to figure out which way you're going to go, because you can go both ways in this.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, I knew when I was began studying. I wasn't born the same way as you. I would always have dreams about premonitions, they call them, of future things. But in, I believe, 1995, 96 was when I began to. In my astrology chart, Neptune, which is the planet of vision and spiritual investigation, that planet woke up from being in this backward motion, and my whole life changed.
Wow.
So that was my opening, so to speak, and that, I look at, all paths lead to the same place.
Yes.
So I find that, your book, The Growth of Truth, what a great name for this book, and
if I may tell you where the title came from.
Yes.
Bonnie was a lot like you, dreamt about a premonition of the title of this book. in the title of that she was going to write this book. Yeah, you know, the truth. You just got the truth there. And she just woke up with it one day, and here's the title. Yeah. And it was pretty interesting because if you look at it, like you said, you grew yourself to the truth, and that's what happened. Yeah. And that's what happened with myself as well. So,
and you know it when you feel it.
Yes.
Because it's here, you know, it's on all levels, and you know what's so really interesting is if everybody can see, there is if I can hold it so it looks like can you tell us about the picture? This picture.
Yes.
This is such an interesting picture.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's in the clouds. So
it is, and that is a real picture that Bonnie, my co-writer, had also taken. And she goes for daily walks every day, and a very physical, active woman.
Yeah.
And she walked out her front door, and she's got hillsides right in front of her, and what a beautiful sight to see when you walk out the door. She saw the clouds, and here was this elephant picture, and she ended up taking, you know, her camera and getting photos of the shot. Yeah. And the reason why it's significant is 2 years ago I was in a major car accident. Mm-hmm. And that week before I was in the car accident, someone had given me a keychain of an elephant. And it was supposed to be lucky. And it means, you know, for the growth, for life, for emotional, physical, spiritual abundance. And I put it on my keychain. And then I was in this car accident. And I always said, okay, wow, this keychain, you know, helped me save my life, not just spiritually, in many different ways.
Right.
And then when she saw this, a short time after the accident, I couldn't believe that I got the confirmation. So I believe in confirmation and symbolism, and there it was. Yeah. And when she said, look at this cover for the book, I think this would work, I couldn't believe it.
So could you talk a little bit more about the symbolism of that elephant?
Yeah, the symbolism of elephants is, it's an Asian symbol, and it does mean it brings you luck emotionally, physically, financially, anything that has to do with your well-being, especially if the trunk is up. So, you know, so here is the trunk being up, and it was perfect because even the eyeball, we see everything with this cloud, and she was able to see this confirmation right after my accident. Wow. And let me remind everyone, what was wonderful about it is I ended up meeting Bonnie 2 weeks after my accident, and I was still recovering with my injuries, and I took her in as a client. So it all happened within 2 weeks' time of getting confirmation and where my physical life was saved, as well as my spiritual, and had a wonderful person walk into my life and had me manifest and change something.
Yeah, I love the colors too. The nice soft blue color. It's very uplifting, very soft, very gentle, and it is a great read. So, you know, and it really is a heartwarming book. And are you a member of any of the social networks like Facebook?
I am on Facebook. I don't have a lot of clients reach me through Facebook. They do reach me through my email, but I do have Facebook, and I have a page on my Facebook that is for my business, Epiphany Productions. So they can go to the page if they choose to. But they do, you know, become friends with me to go on my Facebook. I leave that up to the client. I don't reach out to the client. I have them reach out to me because that's what I believe. And that's how I communicate with them, is just on my Facebook.
Oh, so, great! Yeah. Well, I find Facebook to be a great, you know, a great place to connect with people and you know, to align with where we're no different than anybody else out there. And you know,
Andrea, I have said this. I taught a class last week, and I said that I am just like everyone else. Don't look at me any differently. I am the same as you. We're no different. Right. We're just living our lives differently, and we're choosing, you know, to make different decisions and use our gifts differently. Right. And that's what I was saying, that we still have mortgages, and we still have kids, and we still have all these, you know, real life issues that are going on. And it doesn't make us any different than anyone else. And it really calmed the energy in the room, and it was nice. You know, but great reminder.
Yeah. Well, you know, it was interesting. After I broke my ankle, someone that I work with a lot said to me, "Didn't you see this coming?" And I went, you know, I knew there was a lot of stress, but I have a life, and I live it, and I knew that there was a lot of stress there. But when somebody calls me for help, I'm so likely to say, I'll be right there and I'll help you. And so that's what I was doing. I was doing something like that. It wasn't something for me at the moment. However, you know, we're human. We do what we do. And so that was my response was, I knew there was a lot of pressure there. I knew that I had some really unusual things happening since November in my life, but I always think that there's a good reason and there's going to be a great outcome to whatever, to this that happened. So yeah, I want to remind people that we are human.
Yes.
We are human, and that we walk this walk and we do our best to talk our talk.
Oh, I love that. That is a great euphemism.
Well, and you teach classes, right?
I do. I teach a lot of different classes. I always do what Spirit tells me to do. So I took a break off of teaching classes for a few months, and all of a sudden the shouting starts happening again. You need to teach us. You need to do this. This is who you need to invite. This is what and I'm like, okay. So when I put it down, within 15 minutes it was booked, and it was the people that they had said, this is who you need to invite. So it's really kind of funny how I do live my life by what Spirit is telling me to do. And the classes I teach, are due to being a medium, or sometimes I have a class called Over the Other Side, or Over the Bridge, where I bring them to the other side, and they are able to witness what they feel their other side would be, or even visiting their families or their loved ones as well. A lot of it is meditation, a lot of visual work, because we go through life so quickly that people don't even understand what it is, and they don't understand how to even get to that point. And that's what we're doing, is we're trying to teach them how to get to this point. I ask every day, bring the people to me who need to be taught something. I am a teacher, and that's what it is I want to do, and that is what I'm able to do, and I'm so thankful I'm able to do that. But the classes vary, and I get a lot of one-on-ones as well with people who just want to open up into something new, or law of attraction for someone wants to learn how to do that, so I'll teach them this. There's many different things that we're able to teach them, and I'm very thankful to be able to do it and show them this process does work.
So how does someone reach you? What is your email?
It's Deb, which is my first name, Pinet, P-I-N-E-T, at Comcast.net. I usually get back to everyone within 24 hours, and whatever questions that they have, because I do not have a website. A lot of people ask why I don't have a website. That's one of the common questions. I do have my page on Facebook, which is gives you a lot of the information of what I do offer for my services. And the reason being, I like a lot of one-on-one with my clients. And also what it brings to me, it's not only the one-on-one, but it also helps me to just build a relationship with my client. And that's what I felt that worked for me. When I did have the website, I didn't get a lot of traffic on it, and they were still asking me questions, even with a website. So for myself, spiritually, it was the best thing for me to do, or just dealing with the clients one-on-one, and that's what I've been doing. So
where do you teach from?
I do have a home in Raymond, New Hampshire, and my whole lower level of the house is dedicated to my work. So I have a whole space dedicated to my work, and it's great because it's private, and it separates my family life to my work life, and it works really well. So so I appreciate the space that I have, and every so often we're changing things, or I'm adding pillows here, and I'm doing things, and I can't believe I have that space. I can't believe I have it. I'm very thankful for that, and humbled that I have the space.
And I know what you mean about changing the pills. You always got to keep it new and fresh, and keep movement going on. So I understand that as well. And the interesting thing is, I know you have another book. In the works. Can you tell us about it and when you expect it to be published? Sure.
We're in the process now of selling it to publishers, and we are getting some feedback on it. There are some changes going on with the book. The second one, and I say the second one even though it's the actual fifth one I've written, but it's the second one that Bonnie and I co-wrote together. And it is something very special, and it is something that does have to do with history, that we decided to just do this really great project. And it is copyrighted, but I'm going to kind of keep it button-lipped a little bit, but it is something that has to do with the spirit world, and it is something that has to do with the history of these wonderful people who are no longer with us anymore. And so it really does. And we're waiting patiently for the right person to come along who wants to support the project as much as we want to support the project. And I believe that person will come. It's just going to be, it has to be the right person. So, and that's what we're waiting for. And again, that's me saying, we got to wait for Spirit to show us who the right person is to deal with this project. And that's okay. So patience, what I have here is time. and that's what I was supposed to do. And that was another project that was brought to my attention by Bonnie. And it was one where there was no hesitation. I knew as soon as she mentioned it, and how quick that spirit came to us with information was undeniable. And that's when I said, we need to get this project done. And I want to mention, you know, what we do for work. In our homes, we have a lot of spiritual activity. And the spiritual activity wasn't only shared amongst myself, it was shared with my family. So whenever I wrote these projects, my family had witnessed things as well. So it's really interesting to see the ripple effect of what it has on people. And that's what words are supposed to do. That's what we are supposed to do. And that's the art of the teaching. And that's the art of us getting the word out there. This is what we're doing. And,
well, it's so true. Whatever you do affects the people around you, and our families are closest to us. So there's no way that one of us having some type of experience could not be affecting the rest of the family. So it is, you know, being that we're in this age of Aquarius, the things that we do collectively, you know, are so important to each other. So I think that check out Debbie on Facebook.
Oh, yes, please. Go right ahead. It's
can,
under my full name, too, Debbie Raymond Pinet.
Debbie Raymond Pinet on Facebook. And you can also find her. I'm going to be putting a link on Turn to the Stars under the links section, and you'll find Debbie there as well. And so you can reach her that way if you can't remember the other way. Or
Thank you.
And I wanted to have Debbie here because I like Debbie for many, many years, and we've always had a great respect for each other. And so you know, in Turn to the Stars, we are about our community and how can we help each other, and so that's very important. And so anyway, if there's anything that you want to share before the show's almost over.
You know, just to give a little introduction about what the book is about. It is a heaven and hell of a psychic medium, but it's also, when we say the growth of truth, it's learning on how to deal with everything that I have grown to know. And the fact that it's not even relying, it's respecting, and it's intuitively loving what it is that we do. And that really shows in here. When we say heaven and hell, there truly is a heaven and hell, and there's a positive and a negative side to the work that we do, and it just shows how we maintain it, and it also shows tricks of the trade of how to use the law of attraction and how things do manifest themselves just by using our mind and spirituality. And that's what the book is about.
I do want to recommend to everyone watching the show. You know, I truly enjoyed it, so I give it my recommendation. So I want to say thank you to Debbie. Thank you for being with us, and thank you everyone for watching Turn to the Stars. We'll see you next week. Take care.
Thank you.